This was a train that could travel through time. At this moment, it was heading toward its destination year 2018. 2.5 hours later, the train arrived. Hitomi prepared to get off, but accidentally fell straight into the clouds, and just like that, Hitomi had successfully traveled through time. When she came to her senses, she found herself inside a room. Then, footsteps suddenly echoed from outside. Hitomi panicked in an instant. She quickly hid under the bed, from the shoes of the person who entered. It was obvious he was a man. Hitomi watched from under the bed as he began taking off his clothes, silently praying in her heart for someone to save her. Thankfully, the phone on the desk rang at that moment. The boy picked it up, answered the call, and left the room. Seeing this, Hitomi immediately opened the window and escaped. However, what she didn't know was that outside, two girls happened to be there taking pictures with a camera. At that very moment, Hitomi jumped out of the window from that room, and the entire scene was captured by those two girls. The boy who lived in that house was actually their classmate, Yuto, but Hitomi had no idea she had been caught on camera. Later, she arrived at a nearby park. Looking at the world before her, she felt both familiar and strange. The sea and the buildings looked just like the area near her grandmother's house. Yet in her eyes, everything was completely colorless. Hitomi came from 60 years in the future. Since childhood, she had suffered from color vision deficiency. She couldn't see any color at all. Because of that, she lived in a world of black and white, had no friends, and her personality had become repressed and cold. Her grandmother, Kahaku, grew very worried about her mental and emotional health. So she cast a spell and sent Hitomi back to the year 2018. Although this was the modern world, magic existed here, and using it in daily life wasn't unusual at all. Kahaku hoped that by returning to 2018, Hitomi could find the happiness that truly belonged to her. At that time, Hitomi walked aimlessly down the street, and the person she wanted to find most was her grandmother from 60 years ago. Just then, the two girls who had secretly photographed her earlier noticed her again. Beside them was a boy named Yamabuki. He was the first to walk over and greet Hitomi. Asagi noticed that Hitomi's knee was injured, so she kindly handed her a bandage. Then she asked if Hitomi was looking for something. Hitomi said she was trying to find the magic shop in town, so the group decided to take her there. They led her to the magic shop's location. Hitomi walked inside, but everything in her eyes still remained without color. This magic shop sold all kinds of magical tools. Hitomi told the shopkeeper her grandmother's name, but the clerk said that girl was currently studying abroad in England and wouldn't be back anytime soon. Hitomi felt a bit disappointed, but could only leave quietly for now. Just as she was about to go, an elderly lady suddenly called out to her from behind. Hitomi instinctively blurted out, "Grandma!" But the woman in front of her merely looked somewhat similar to her grandmother. Hitomi handed her the letter her grandmother had given her. Through their conversation, the old lady learned about Hitomi's time travel. She told Hitomi that if the letter was genuine, then she must indeed be family. It turned out that this elderly woman was Kahaku's grandmother, which made her Hitomi's great-great-grandmother. The old lady then took her home to stay with them. The next day, Hitomi met Kahaku's parents. They already knew who she was, and told her to make herself comfortable and stay with them. As for when Kahaku would return, that depended on her own plans. During breakfast, Hitomi said she wanted to go out for a bit, because she had accidentally lost one of the earrings her grandmother gave her. To help her find it more quickly, her family gave her a bottle of potion that could locate lost items. After using it, Hitomi discovered that the missing earring was actually still in Yuto's house from yesterday. With no other choice, Hitomi went there. Just as she arrived, she saw Yuto leaving, so she quietly followed him. After walking for a while, Yuto sat down under a small pavilion. It turned out his favorite thing to do was draw. He would paint on his tablet whenever he had free time. But the moment Hitomi saw Yuto's drawing, her once black and white world suddenly changed. A vivid, colorful world burst into her vision. For someone who had never seen color before, it was an overwhelming experience. But right then, Yuto suddenly turned off his tablet. When Hitomi snapped back to reality, she asked if she could look at his drawing again. Yuto responded by taking out his phone. On it played a video of Hitomi jumping out of his window yesterday. That video had caused him quite a headache, because it spread all over the school, and people started assuming that he was Hitomi's boyfriend. He then took out the earring Hitomi had dropped in his room, and asked her why she had broken into his house. Realizing she couldn't hide the truth any longer, Hitomi explained everything. Yuto didn't seem particularly surprised. Because in this world full of magic, anything could happen. After returning the earring to her, he prepared to leave. Yuto didn't know much about magic himself. For him, painting was his greatest passion. Watching his back as he walked away, Hitomi felt a tinge of regret. She had wanted to ask him more about that painting, but it seemed she would have to wait for another chance. For now, Hitomi stayed in her grandmother Kahaku's house. By the timeline, the Kahaku of 2018 should be around the same age as her, but since Kahaku was currently studying magic abroad in England, it would still be some time before she returned. So, under her family's arrangement, Hitomi began attending the local high school. After arriving at school, the teacher introduced Hitomi to everyone. When the class heard that she was related to Kahaku, some of them looked nervous, because Kahaku had once been a powerful mage. But her poor control over magic often caused trouble. Yuto also noticed that Hitomi had transferred to their school, and when Hitomi saw him, she went over to say hello. Because of that video, everyone still thought she was Yuto's girlfriend, but Yuto explained that Hitomi had accidentally teleported into his house through a magic circle. No one believed his explanation, though, so Yuto asked Hitomi to show everyone some magic, hoping it would clear up the misunderstanding between them. Hitomi agreed to demonstrate in front of the class. When nearby students heard about it, they all gathered around to watch. Hitomi began chanting a spell and tried to cast magic, but what followed was disappointing to everyone. No one expected that she couldn't even perform the simplest starlight spell smoothly. Someone even demonstrated the same spell on the spot, doing it much better than she did. Hitomi told Yuto that was the best she could do, then quickly ran off. Later, she sat alone outside, muttering to herself that she hated magic. At that moment, a Seijai and Kawaii came over to comfort her, telling her not to be sad and offering to show her around campus. In her old life, Hitomi had never really had friends. She never expected that after traveling 60 years into the past, she would actually make some. After walking around the school with them, Hitomi eventually parted ways with the girls, but her thoughts were still on Yuto. Because she wanted to see that painting again, she found him on the rooftop. Hitomi apologized for what had happened earlier that day, saying that was the limit of what she could do with magic. Then she asked if she could see Yuto's drawing again. Yuto felt too awkward to refuse, so he handed her the painting. The moment Hitomi saw it, her eyes lit up. After gazing at it for a while, she was satisfied and turned to leave, but Yuto suddenly stopped her. He said he wanted to see her use magic again. He thought the ability to summon starlight was amazing, and definitely more impressive than his drawings. Hitomi froze for a second, then smiled for the first time in a long while. She hadn't expected anyone to be happy just to see her use magic. Even if she knew Yuto was trying to comfort her, she still felt genuinely happy. The next day, in the art room, Hitomi stared at the dies in front of her. She could only tell the colors apart by reading the labels on the bottles, wanting to paint what she pictured in her mind. She squeezed out several dies based on their labels and began painting. 2.5 hours later, she finally finished her work. Hitomi thought Yuto wouldn't like it, but to her surprise, he found the painting rather interesting. They were part of the school's photography and art club. Because the club lacked new members, everyone hoped Hitomi would join, but they didn't know about her color blindness. Hitomi actually wanted to join. She had enjoyed spending time with them over the past few days, yet she feared she wouldn't fit in because of her condition, so she hesitated. That day, the club had a photography event, but when everything was ready, they realized they didn't have a model, so Kawaii set her sights on Hitomi. Her appearance was perfect for the shoot. After thinking for a moment, Hitomi agreed. When the photo shoot officially began, everything was in place. The theme this time was pool spray, aimed at capturing dreamy, fantasy-style photos. Then Kawaii announced the model's entrance. Hitomi's heart raced with nervousness. She had never done anything like this before. Earlier, Kawaii had told her to use the blue bottle, which contained a potion that would let her walk on water, but Kawaii didn't know. Hitomi couldn't see colors. To her, every bottle looked black and white, so she simply picked one at random. She walked to the center of the pool, poured the potion onto the surface, and bravely stepped forward. To her relief, she didn't fall in. She was actually floating on the water. The photo shoot continued as planned, but Kawaii soon noticed something strange. She thought she had seen Hitomi use the pink bottle instead. She quickly checked the bottles. Sure enough, the one Hitomi used had traces of pink liquid inside. Kawaii immediately called out to Hitomi, telling her the bottle she had used wasn't meant for walking on water. The moment she said that, Hitomi plunged into the pool. The team had no choice but to stop the shoot early, ending the event altogether. Afterward, Hitomi changed into dry clothes. When she came out, she saw Yuto waiting for her. Yuto apologized, saying he had also encouraged her to join the event. Just as she was about to leave, Yuto stopped her and asked if she couldn't tell colors apart. Hitomi realized she couldn't hide it any longer, so she told him the truth. She had lived in a black and white world since she was a child. Even rainbows looked like shades of gray to her. She begged Yuto not to tell anyone, because she was terrified that her new friends might reject her if they found out. Meanwhile, the other members of the art club walked home together, chatting. They still really wanted Hitomi to join, but after what happened today, they figured it would be hard to convince her now. The next day, Hitomi deliberately avoided everyone. It wasn't because she disliked them after what happened yesterday, but because she didn't know how to face them. Later, she went up to the rooftop, telling herself that she couldn't go on like this. She had to talk to them properly. Gathering her courage, Hitomi went to find them, but when she reached the art room, she found a note taped to the door. It said they were waiting for her at the pool, so she hurried there. When she arrived, she saw her classmates cleaning the pool together. Hitomi immediately apologized for what happened the day before, but no one blamed her. Instead, they invited her to join in and help clean. Just then, Yuto found out that one of his classmates had taken black and white photos, so he wanted Hitomi to give it a try as well. Upon hearing this, Hitomi immediately said she wanted to join the art club. Her classmates were thrilled, welcoming her warmly. A few days later, Kahaku returned from England. It was Hitomi's first time meeting her grandmother in her youth. Kahaku had already known about Hitomi's time travel while studying abroad, so she wasn't surprised at all. Instead, she ran up and gave Hitomi a big hug. The next day, the two went to school together like close friends. In class, Kahaku brought gifts for everyone. The students were delighted, though some joked that it might be a trap, since Kahaku was known for accidentally causing magical chaos. Even so, she was well liked by her classmates. Everyone was curious about what new magic she might have learned, and they all gathered around, asking her to show them something. But Kahaku smiled and said she wasn't the same person she used to be. Her academy had taught her that magic wasn't for showing off. Magic existed to bring happiness to others. Still, when she saw everyone's disappointed faces, she decided to demonstrate something small. She handed Hitomi a photo album, then began casting a spell. To everyone's astonishment, the scenes inside the photo album came to life before their eyes, as if they had been transported into the real world. Just then, a train appeared out of nowhere, rushing right past them. At that exact moment, a teacher opened the classroom door, and a thick cloud of black smoke billowed out. Once again, Kahaku had caused trouble. That night, back home, Hitomi and Kahaku shared a room. Hitomi confessed that she couldn't see colors, and didn't know what to do about it anymore. Kahaku gently reassured her. She told Hitomi not to worry, that the unknown future was the most exciting kind, and that she wasn't alone anymore. Now she had her grandmother by her side, and besides, they were both mages. As long as they worked together, there would surely be a way forward. Hitomi admitted she wasn't very good at magic, but Kahaku immediately cut her off. Then Kahaku pulled out a drawing, the same train drawing that had been inside the album that morning. That meant Hitomi was the one who had made it appear. Her magic was real. It was just that it activated unconsciously. She simply hadn't learned how to control it yet. Hitomi was stunned. Kahaku then changed the subject, curiously asking what kind of person she would marry in the future. But the moment she said it, she laughed and took it back. She reminded herself of her own words earlier, that an unknown future was far more exciting. Knowing it now would only spoil the fun. The next evening, everyone decided to go to the school rooftop to take photos of the scenery for the photography and art club. This was part of their creative project. When they reached the rooftop, they began their photo shoot. Yuto was the only one who knew about Hitomi's color blindness. To make her feel included, he suggested she try taking black and white photos. That way, she wouldn't feel limited by her inability to see color. It also helped her blend in more naturally with everyone else. Later, Hitomi and Kahaku were chatting together, but during their conversation, Kahaku accidentally called her granddaughter, and Yuto and the others overheard it. The two froze. They knew they couldn't hide it any longer. Kahaku decided it was time to tell the truth, so she explained everything, who Hitomi really was, and where she came from. When everyone learned that Hitomi had come from 60 years in the future, they were completely shocked. None of them had ever imagined that magic could reach such heights, the power to transcend time itself. But after the surprise faded, everyone accepted it with warmth. After all, in a world where magic and everyday life coexist, every extraordinary encounter deserves to be treated with kindness.